Today, we are undertaking a deep dive into an essential and I think really specialized piece of home care tech, the electric patient lift transfer chair.
Right. And let's just jump straight in by defining what we're even talking about. This is a crucial mobility aid. It's designed to help caregivers move an individual with limited mobility. So think between a bed and a chair or a sofa, maybe into a car. But the key here, the fundamental difference, is that it does this electrically. Part of the system is the electric actuator.
The actuator.
Yeah, I mean, this is the powered piston that manages all the height adjustment. It takes the sheer physical effort out of the transfer, which, like you said, is the whole reason this tech exists.
Right.
And the specs, they tell us exactly how much lifting they can handle. And there's this striking consistency across the industry here. The load capacity almost always hovers right around 330 pounds.
330, or about 150 kilograms.
Exactly. And that consistency suggests that 330 pounds is kind of the sweet spot for safety and reliability in this form factor.
So if you see a model promising way more than that, you should probably be a little skeptical.
I would be very skeptical about its
Mhm.
engineering, yeah.
Okay, so that 330-pound threshold is a great benchmark. But let's talk height, because that seems like the real deal breaker if the chair doesn't match the furniture. What's the range?
This is maybe the most critical insight for anyone listening. You have to measure your furniture first. For instance, the sources cite one specific model, the Ashergo lift. It has a motorized range from about 16.75 inches up to 28.7 inches.
Okay, wait, let me stop you there. 16.75 inches. That's like a low office chair, right?
Mhm.
Or an average toilet seat.
Mm-hmm.
And 28.7 inches is getting close to countertop height.
Exactly. And that's just under a foot of total lift range. And that limited range means you absolutely must check that 16.75 is low enough to slide under your bed frame, and that 28.7 is high enough to clear whatever surface you're transferring to.
A tiny mismatch makes the whole thing useless.
Difficult or, frankly, impossible. It's a precision tool. It needs precise measurements.
In all this powered movement, it has to be independent. They're not plugged into the wall, are they?
No. They run on a rechargeable battery. It's usually a 24-volt DC power source. This means they're cordless when you're using them, which is obviously essential for getting around a room.
But that introduces a new problem.
It does. It immediately brings in a logistical concern. Battery management becomes a non-negotiable part of the daily routine.
So if the electrics are the engine, then the wheels and brakes are the chassis. I see they all use those 360-degree casters for movement.
Yeah, which you need for tight corners in a house. And that movement has to be stopped instantly, so foot-operated brakes are always a mandatory safety feature.
But let's zoom in on the seat. What is it about the seat design that actually makes the transfer itself possible?
That would be the split seat design.
Yeah.
It's a really remarkable innovation for both safety and for hygiene.
How does it work?
The seat is made of two halves that can pivot, open, or slide apart. So this allows the caregiver to move the chair right up to the patient and then slide the two halves under them while they're still seated.
Oh, so you're not dragging them sideways onto the chair.
Exactly. It completely eliminates that heavy, often dangerous lateral dragging motion.
Yeah.
And because it supports the user from underneath, that split seat design makes it perfect for its other uses, like as a commode chair or for personal hygiene.
It's a really elegant solution.
It is a very elegant solution to a very complex problem. And moving into the benefits, we just have to start with the caregiver. The core value here, above all else, is reducing their strain. I mean, the statistics on injuries among home healthcare workers, they're alarming.
Thousands of career-ending back and shoulder injuries every single year.
Yeah.
So this is basically industrial-grade safety equipment, but for the home. It's an investment in the long-term health of the person providing the care.
It is. And for the user, that smoother power transfer is a huge boost to dignity
Yeah.
and comfort.
Nobody wants to feel like they're being, dragged or shoved around.
And as you mentioned, these models are inherently multi-purpose. You're not just buying a lift.
You're potentially buying 3 different mobility aids in one single package.
That's right. The ability to use it as a standard transport chair, a commode chair, and a shower chair. It really maximizes the financial utility, and it simplifies the amount of equipment you need in the home.
One piece of gear for most of the mobility tasks.
Exactly. Now, on safety systems, since we are talking about a battery-powered device lifting a person, redundancy is it's key. So beyond the brakes, you're looking for mandatory emergency stop buttons.
Usually a big red button you can't miss.
Right. And, critically, a manual lowering mechanism.
Why is that manual part so vital?
Because if the battery dies midway through a transfer or if there's some kind of electrical fault, you can't just leave the patient suspended in the air.
Of course.
That manual option lets the caregiver safely, even if it's slowly, lower the user back down. It is the ultimate fail-safe.
Okay, back to that multi-purpose function, the shower. Can you really take these things into a wet environment? Are they waterproof?
They're water resistant, which is a really important distinction to make. The sources mention ratings like IP44. That basically means it's protected against solids larger than a millimeter and water splashes from any direction.
So it's good enough for shower use.
It is. It's sufficient for showering and cleaning, but you can't say submerge the mechanism.
Yeah.
The caregiver still needs to be careful about not spraying water directly onto the battery or the controller.
Got it. And we also saw that flexibility extends to logistics, too. Some models, like the eCare medical chair, are designed to fold or come apart.
Which makes them so much more manageable for storage,
Right.
in a small apartment or for transport if the user needs to travel.
Right.
And that ties into just getting around the house. Another fantastic feature is the adjustable base width.
Oh, that's smart.
It's pure genius for homes where, door frames are tight. You can narrow the base to get through the door, then widen it out again to stabilize the chair for the transfer.
It shows they're actually designing for real, sometimes cramped, living spaces.
Not just a wide open hospital floor.
Exactly. Okay, here's the reality check. We've talked about the immense benefits, the safety, dignity, versatility. But no mobility aid, especially one this complex, comes without some pretty significant trade-offs.
Yeah.
You have to look at the cons.
Absolutely. And if we look at this strategically, the drawbacks fall into about 3 categories. You've got financial, logistical, and then operational. Financially, these are expensive. Often exponentially more than a simple manual transfer chair.
Because of the motor, the battery,
What?
all the complex parts.
Right. The motor, the actuator, the batteries, the specialized steel frames. It all adds up to a substantial financial commitment.
And as we know, more complexity usually means more maintenance.
Precisely. More moving parts means more potential points of failure. If the battery controller breaks or the actuator needs to be recalibrated, you're dealing with specialized technical support. It's not a quick fix.
So that higher maintenance definitely offsets some of the convenience.
It can.
And
Yeah.
logistically.
Yeah.
Even the models that fold down still present a challenge, right? They're still heavy and bulky.
They have to be. They have to be heavy enough to stay completely stable while lifting a 330-pound person. So while they might fold, they're not something you can just easily throw into the trunk of a car.
No.
They take significant effort in vehicle space. So you really shouldn't mistake foldable for lightweight.
That makes the operational constraints feel even more pressing.
Yeah.
We mentioned the battery, but what about the floor clearance? That seems like something that's easily overlooked.
It's a huge deal breaker. The base of the chair, the legs that have to slide under the furniture, they need several inches of vertical clearance.
So if your sofa sits right on the floor,
You're out of luck. You cannot slide the chair into position to do the lift safely. You have to confirm that clearance measurement before you even think about buying one. And that just circles us right back to the height mismatch we talked about earlier. Can you imagine spending thousands of dollars on a chair only to find out your favorite recliner is 30 inches high?
Right.
But the lift only goes up to 28.7 inches.
that 1.3-inch gap is the difference between a smooth transfer and a dangerous struggle.
Exactly.
So it really sounds like the environment dictates the equipment, not the other way around. The sources show that buyers have to prioritize what they need most, because all the models trade off robustness for portability.
They do.
For example, you look at the options. Some are built for sheer strength, like the Forza electric transfer chair. It's noted for its really strong frame. But then others, like the UH Medify model, focus on a slightly more lightweight design to make it easier to move around, even if that compromises a bit of stability.
So you have to decide. Do you need something robust for heavy daily use, or do you need something that's just easier to manage when you travel?
Right. So if we synthesize all of this, the facts, the constraints, the trade-offs, the source material, gives us a pretty clear strategy for any potential buyer. And this raises the important question. Once you've decided this type of aid is necessary, what's the crucial checklist to guide that final selection? Well, that checklist has to start with the hard numbers. The must-check specs. It's a trifecta, really. Weight capacity, which we know should be reliably 330 pounds or more.
Right.
Battery runtime, because you have to know how many transfers you can get between charges. And finally, the folded dimensions. That tells you if it will actually fit in your closet or your car.